and I'm going to share the Dynasty Nerds screen here. It's just the GM tool. I really like it for mock drafts. So we're going to do a Superflex Premium mock draft startup. We're going to do 12 team. I'm going to do 22 rounds. And I'm going to draft from the 5 slot, and we're going to do a snake draft. It really is that simple. And as you'll see, once I hit start here, it's really just going to start working through it. And to be honest, it's pretty freaking simple to kind of do here. And I just think it's super helpful that it goes a lot faster. And I find you can do a lot more reps at your mock drafts, which for me is something I think that helps because you can kind of try out different strategies. But we're on the clock here at 1-5. We're going to scroll up. Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, basically the first 3 picks for any show, any draft. We're doing super flex, tight end premium. Jamar Chase going here at 4. I've been wanting to try something out though. And this is a mock draft. It's the best time to try things out. And what I'm going to try here is I'm going to see how I like my team if I take Brock Bowers in the first round. Now, this is a tight end premium draft. So I'm placing a premium on the tight ends. So now we're going to see who comes back to me. Let's see. Some interesting stuff here. We can kind of scroll up. We're going to be up at 2-8 here in a second. Okay, so after Bowers went Justin Jefferson, Jalen Hurts, Bijan Robinson, Joe Burrow, Jahmyr Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, Patty Mahomes, Genti, Amon-Ra. See, I think this is a much more accurate place for kind of Genti to go. I just think if you were in a real draft, I seem to think that this just makes a lot more sense as to the place he's going to go, which is why I like, just in general, the way these rankings function a little more. So we're up here. We already went tight end. So I think for me, I'm going to take a peek here at the QBs and see who's sitting around. Sorry if I'm looking down a little bit, guys. I'm looking at the screen. Okay, let's see who we got here at QB. Jordan Love. I think to me, Jordan Love seems to be a pretty good pick. I don't really know who else. Drake May. I think I'm going to go Drake May here at the 2-8. Now, what we're going to do is we're probably going to do a couple reps, and I'm going to speed up kind of as this draft goes. I just like that you can kind of really pound these out when it's going this quickly. And I find these rankings to be a lot more helpful. Now, if you have any questions with some of these picks, exactly why I'm doing anything, you let me know, guys. Okay, we're up at 3-5. Wonder who QB-wise is still here. CJ Stroud, Bo Nix, Brock Purdy. I like that a lot, to be honest, when it comes to this draft-wise here. I'm going to go Bo Nix. I like the upside of Bo Nix over CJ Stroud. I think it's picking hairs, to be honest. But let's take a peek at our team, kind of how this is playing out. Brock Bowers, Drake May, Bo Nix. I mean, in general, I like it. But the thing is now is I think it's probably wide receiver time. I'm curious what running backs are going to be here. Jonathan Taylor is not bad. I just think with no wide receivers yet, we've got to start taking them or I'm really going to regret my decision because that is what seems to happen in a startup draft. If you don't start taking wide receivers, I think this is pretty good value for 10. Honestly, I like Rashee Rice, but this is a startup. I went really young with my first 3 picks, 3 second-year guys. Let's add a rookie. I think I'm going to go for another wide receiver here. Out of the players on the board here, I actually am a huge Jordan Addison fan, but I'm not going to take him over Zay Flowers. So we're going to go Zay Flowers right here at the 5. Going back to our squad here, we got Brock Bowers, Drake May, Bo Nix, Tet McMillan, Zay Flowers. Look at some of the guys that have been going here in between us, some tight ends. I like that. I think what I like also about this mock draft tool is that if you set it to tight end premium, you can see these tight ends are going, right? TJ Hawkinson in the 5th, Warren in the 5th. We're going to scroll up. Wouldn't be surprised if you see Sam Laporta in the 3rd, where if you want to practice a tight end premium draft, but you're going to do that on Sleeper, it can be a little difficult, right? Because Sleeper doesn't really have a tight end premium function in their mock drafts tool. And so you're basically not going to get a good feel for kind of where these tight ends are going. And I think to me, that's very important. Like, you need to be very careful on kind of underdoing or overdoing. So now we're going to look for a running back. I think RJ Harvey is actually pretty good value here in the 6th. I'm curious what wide receivers are still around. I don't hate Pickens here as well. I think I'm going to get a running back. I don't want to be left with 0 running backs on my team. When I'm doing a startup, that's definitely something I try to pay attention to, is that I don't want to be left with absolutely nothing at any given position. Okay, but now it seems like it's basically just wide receiverville. I like the value of Chuba down here. They have him at 86 overall, right? And looking at my team, Tet, Flowers. I mean, this is kind of how my team's building out now. Bowers, Drake May, Bo Nix, Tet McMillan, Zay Flowers, RJ Harvey. I wonder who's available here. I like Chuba, and I do still think Chuba has like a couple-year window. There's just a lot of good value still on the board here. I kind of like this QB value in Jackson Dart, maybe. Curious to see in the 7th. What other QBs have gone here? Tua just went. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to reach there yet. Honestly, I think I'm going to go with another wide receiver here. And for me, the pick's going to be Jordan Addison. I think Jordan Addison is severely underrated personally. I just think he's had 2 pretty good seasons. He got off to a rough start last year, but he's a touchdown scorer, man. And I don't really think that's going to change. He gets so much single coverage due to Justin Jefferson being on the other side that I really don't think much is going to change with the way Jordan Addison plays. And he's either going to stay with Kevin O'Connell, who's a very efficient and just amazing offensive coordinator for fantasy football, or he's going to sign a contract somewhere else where he's probably going to be the 1 or the 2 on a different team. So looking at the running backs here, man, I think I would rather just load up late at this point. Now, it is tight end premium, so I'm curious if double dipping at tight end. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going Dalton Kincaid. I don't even have to think about that. That's great value for me. I still believe enough in Kincaid that in the 8th round, I think that's incredible value in a startup draft. Make sure, guys, if you have any questions, any trade questions for sure, make sure to drop your trade in here. I'd love to get to anything of you guys watching, any advice here. We're going to start speeding it up with some of these picks here. I think I'm going to go Bryce Young in the 9th. Kind of just looking at some of these names. Benson, Trey Harris, Brian Robinson. Swift in the 10th. I really like that. I think that's pretty good value if you're looking for someone. Kyle Pitts, man. He has fallen so much. Really like some of this value. I think I'm going to take Tracy. I don't love it, but I want to get a second running back on the team here, and I don't want to end up with too little at the running back position. $11.5. I mean, dude, some of these drafts, they just last so long. And let's go back to our squad here. I like that we got Bryce Young and Kincaid here. I think we can either trade them. I still believe in these guys enough that I'm really not too concerned. And I just think even you can tell by the rankings here, I think we got pretty good value on those guys. We're up in the 11th now. Still some players. I think I'm going to take a couple running backs just to get some running back depth onto our roster here. I think Tony Pollard, I just talked about him over on my own channel, Dynasty Drip. Make sure to sub if you haven't for more in-depth Dynasty advice. But I think Tony Pollard's being a little underrated right now. I mean, let's not forget that he was the starter last year. And when it comes down to it, it's like, yes, if he's healthy, I really don't think much is going to change there for Tony Pollard. And I think I'm just going to double up here on those Titan backs. The Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard did that last week on a mock draft. And I really like the idea of doing that. I think it creates a good balance of you kind of locked up a backfield per se. So we're going to move over to wide receiver here. It's kind of getting to dart throw territory almost. But I do like Kyle Williams. And basically now we're going to start seeing just some of the names I like to take later in a startup draft. I like to load up on upside and really not pay too much attention to downside at this point. I'm just trying to reach and get players who have the potential to be even more than they are. Rashid Shaheed, one of my favorite players, man. I think he has a chance in the Kellen Moore offense here. I mean, I'm not going to say that he's going to be a wide receiver 1 or anything, but he was pacing very well. And if they can figure out the quarterback position with Shuck, which makes me think, I wonder what QBs are sitting here. I really do love loading up at QB, and I wouldn't be surprised. He would be. So in a sleeper draft, see, that's the thing about the Dynasty Nerds here is they have their rankings a little more aligned, I would say, with how I kind of view some of these players. I would take Tyler Shuck over Jalen Milroe, which is why I'm not going to take Jalen Milroe here. I think I'm going to reach for, I think I'm going to go get J.K. Dobbins, someone who, maybe he turns into something, maybe he doesn't. I don't think it's too much of a risk in the 15th round of a startup mock draft, though. Because you're trying to hit big on some of these players is the thing. And when it comes down to it, you have to take a chance. And I still think if J.K. Dobbins can land in the correct spot, I think he has some potential value here. I think this is interesting value in some of these rookie tight ends. Harold Fannon's still here. I like LaQuint Allen. I'm a big LaQuint Allen fan as a deep stash here. I think I'm going to get another tight end. I think I'm going to go Harold Fannin. Take a chance that maybe Njoku leaves next year and I end up with a starting tight end potentially for Cleveland. So we're going to be moving into the 17th round now of this startup. Just to kind of review where we go, we went Brock Bowers in the first, then we went QB, and Drake May and Bo Nix, Tet McMillan, Zay Flowers, RJ Harvey, Jordan Addison. I think we've got a pretty good young wide receiver core, especially for going tight end, wide receiver, tight end, QB. I did get one running back here in Harvey, and then I tried to get a couple here in the middle and Tracy Pollard and Spears just to kind of build out a little depth. I don't want to go too crazy on running backs in a startup. I tend to go with more of a, whatever you want to call it, competitive rebuild. Where like, I kind of want to be competing year 2. I think Pat Bryant is pretty good value here at this point in the draft. I kind of like to not full tank year 1, but go young, maybe try to get a top 4 pick in the next year's rookie draft. Never gotten the number 1 pick after 1 year because my teams usually end up, I just don't tank that hard. But I just like to be around where I can get maybe one more piece and then make a couple of trades and be good to go. Love this value for LaQuint Allen, dude. He's been someone I've been adding off waivers, honestly, in a lot of my post-rookie draft waivers in my dynasty leagues. LaQuint Allen, someone definitely to keep in mind for you guys. Okay, I'm going to do it, dude. I'm going to take Tank Dell in the 19th round here. If you're watching this, how do you guys feel about Tank Dell? I don't want to give up on him, but I don't want to put any valuable capital. But I'm fine taking a chance on him in the 20th round of a startup draft. Okay, we're up here at 20.8. I personally think it's time just to load up on some rookie running backs. And out of the guys that looks like are still available, I would take Giddens for now. We're going to take Giddens at 20.8. And I think I'm just going to take 2 more. I just like it. I like getting some of these high upside players at the end of startup drafts that, You know, if the starter goes down, they get a chance to play. You have something. If not, we're going to follow that up with Brashard Smith here. And then looks like we're going to have one more pick, and the draft is going to be over. Okay, the last pick. Who is still around? Ooh, Taj Brooks. Yeah, I'm going to take Taj Brooks for sure. Love getting those 3 guys late in the draft there. So I think in general, that one turned out pretty well. I kind of liked the value I got on a lot of those guys. It kind of goes to show you, I mean, I really think I really tend to go QB in round 1. I wanted to test out what going Brock Bowers in a tight end premium league would do. And I think it kind of worked out pretty well, if I'm say so myself. But now we're going to get into the second half of the show.